Are you sick and tired of hitting the golf ball from over the top? Hitting the occasional pull, hitting the occasional slice, and potentially hitting the occasional shank? Well, in today's video, we're going to help you hit the golf ball from the inside every single time. You'll hit the golf ball straighter, you'll hit it a lot more solid, and you'll of course hit the golf ball longer. Hi everyone, my name's James and welcome back to Get Good at Golf. If you'd like to do just that, lower that handicap and start beating all of your friends, make sure you hit that subscribe button below so we know that we're helping. But today I've got a 7-iron and we're just going to hit a couple of greens here, and I want to show you how potentially you can stop that golf club coming more from the outside here, because we all know that that can be quite destructive in the golf swing. We know it can be a scorecard wrecker and it can really get that confidence at an all-time low. Sorry, Bobby, I didn't mean to, yeah. Anyway, but the shots that you can hit, so if I do stand like a lot of mid-handicap golfers do and attack that golf ball more from this way here, you'll see potentially you can strike it really, really well. Unfortunately, that's gone a long way left. So the distance there isn't too bad. This is a 7-iron, that's 157 yards carry, 162 total with 5,000 spins. So if that was on target, you'd be thinking, you know what, that's actually not too bad. Like, I mean, the path's all over the place and the club face wasn't great. So what a lot of golfers do to battle this is actually do this. So we move this way. Then if you hit that shot, oh, actually that's better, isn't it? Look at that, that's on the flag. The distance is good, the spin's good. The spin's a little bit low because I've pulled it, but that's running up nicely to that flag at 180 yards. Now, that isn't a way that you can continue playing golf. It's not a very constructive way or a consistent way of playing, because we're actually manipulating the club and we're actually trying heavily to pull that ball back onto the target. Because actually what can happen here is if I start aiming this way and then I come over the top again, oh dear, and this is the weak shot that I was telling you about. So this is the kind of bit of a slice where you really, really don't want to be doing that because it's only gone 130 yards. So what I want to do is try to work on a way where I'm not manipulating this golf club and I'm allowing the golf club just to kind of fall naturally down to the ground, and that means it's going to attack the golf ball more from the inside. So in essence, what I want to do is first of all make sure the setup's correct. This is where so many golfers can get really, really muddled up and a little misunderstood on what they're trying to do. Because essentially what I want to do here is just make sure that I'm stood nice and square, nice and parallel to my target. We've hit 3 worldies there, Bob, haven't we? If we look at it, it's like an Adidas shell. But I want to stand nice and square. Now, if I do struggle potentially with this move going this way, so the club comes more over the top, you may think, you know what, I'm just going to stand a little bit closed. I'm going to bring the right foot back, I'm going to bring the right shoulder back, and then from there, I can really work on hitting it more from the inside. And that is a potential way of doing it, but we want to give you a little bit more than that. I want to make sure that I'm not just leaving you with a quick plaster that's on top of the wound, because out on the golf course in battle, that can very quickly get torn off and you can get found out quite quickly, because we're not trying to move where we're aiming. I'm trying to get you to move a little bit differently, and this shouldn't be a huge change to your golf swing. If you have a sequence from the top of your backswing, so if you think of how your body parts move, it's a lot easier, it's a lot simpler to think about. So say if I had a golf ball here and I was going to throw this golf ball towards that green, the last thing I would do is move my upper body, then my lower body, because that's not essentially how we're trying to work the golf club. We're not essentially trying to just upper arm this. I want to actually think more about how does a baseball player throw a ball? How do you actually throw this ball quickly and efficiently towards the target? So we'd load up into the right side, very similar to a golf swing, then the lower body would move first, then the torso, and then the arms. And you can see there that that ball's travelled a lot quicker out of my hand than the initial one where it was just the upper body. So if I think about that logically now, and I can stand just nice and square, I can set myself up so my shoulders aren't necessarily open, it's not closed, I'm not moving them, I'm just nice and square. I can get to the top of the backswing here, and from there I want that downswing to start with the lower body. So I want the left hip to start moving this way, I want it to start rotating over the heel, then from there I want the torso to move, then the arms to move, then finally the hands and the club. That buys me the time to allow the club to work naturally down towards the ground, and actually you'll find that it just starts to work more inside your hands here. So it's inside with the butt of the club pointing out towards the right. From there, you square that club up and it is moving more from the inside. So you're going to hit the inside of that golf ball a lot more often than the outside of it. So let's put that into practice and just see how potentially it can work. So essentially, I want to go to the top and then you can see straight through there. So that golf ball is really well struck. It's not really moved in the air. The club path is nice and neutral. As you can see there, it's a really nice distance at 167 yards for my 7-iron. So the key here is not being able to just do that, but do it on repeat. So how are we going to practice this? Because I could go potentially to the top of my backswing, and it might be the takeaway that's actually stopping me doing this, because if I have a bit of a kind of one-piece takeaway, essentially I'm going to have that same shot that we had earlier. So I want to make sure that when I'm taking that club away, when I'm building my backswing essentially, I'm actually allowing myself to think, right, let's think about the sequence from the top of the backswing. How do I do it? We know that it's building from the ground up, so I want lower body, hips, torso, chest, shoulders, hands, club, that way. So what I'm going to do on the way back is actually do it a bit more in reverse. So I want to feel like when I take the club away, it's club, hands, arms, torso, and you can see my lower body hasn't really moved yet, but the club is in a really nice position. Now you'll hear my voice change pitch there, change tone a little bit, because I'm actually building around my hips. I'm building around that static lower body. So from there, I can then put the club up in position by allowing the hips to rotate last. And from there, I'm going to then have that sequence in reverse from the top of the backswing like we said earlier. So because I've actually done it in reverse, it's a lot easier then to unload the lower body and then the torso and then the chest and then the arms and then the club. And when you go to the driving range, don't feel like you have to do what I'm doing here. I'm rifling balls off for fun. But you could go to the driving range and have a really productive 20, 30 minutes with 10, 20 golf balls. You don't need a basket of 100 golf balls. Just allow yourself some time, some process to think, how can I get this sequence moving? How can I load up like the baseball player, then unload like the baseball player while that club comes more from the inside here? Because the last thing I want is this, because here we're not controlling the dynamic loft, we're not controlling the club, we're not even controlling the club head speed, so we don't know A, where the ball's going to go, we don't know B, how far it's going to go, and C, you're probably going to run out of golf balls eventually because they're all going to go either in the pond or the hazard or in the trees. So let's have a think about potentially how we can do this on the range. So upper body first into the lower and then through again there. And you can see I'm actually thinking more about how I build that backswing than allow myself to project through there. We've got the same yardage, 167. And guys, if you put all that together with a little bit of practice, I guarantee you'll hit the ball straighter, you'll hit the ball longer, and you'll start beating all of your friends, and essentially, you'll get good at golf.